ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's That's Cool Drink. It's Tuesday night, and it's 7 o'clock. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. It's going to be an excellent, excellent evening. Got Josh Rich on tonight, a.k.a. Josh Reich, which I called him for 2 full years, well, 1.5 years. I got it right on like day 3 of his, I believe, second race week. But we're going to talk about him. He doubled up wins at this deal, took his rowdy radial truck, this truck, Colorado truck, and won a quarter-mile class with it. So if you guys don't know, a 26-inch tall tire, a car that's pretty much set up to run an 1/8 mile, even if it's set up to run down the street, going quarter-mile racing with that same truck, it's a pretty big feat. And it's he took out some like not little guy competitors, and Vince Ruby and him had a pretty back and forth. It was an awesome. There's some super cool like in car camera views of both of those cars, and they both got to the end and they were like, I don't know who won. So very, very cool stuff that he was doing that with the 1/8 mile car. Respect on that, Mr. Josh Flint. What up? That's a great segue. Josh Flint is getting his little devil car set up because we are racing Mod Nationals. That is happening next week. It's going to be or in 2 weeks, I guess. Whatever the hell. I don't know what the hell's going on. It's going to be absolutely off the chain. I will be out at Bradenton doing that with Cliff Parvin. All of the overhead cam Ford stuff. This is the biggest race in the world for that type of thing. Over $100,000 in payouts, and it is going to be absolutely nuts. That's right. It is the 2024 Mod Nationals presented by AccuFab, Suncoast, and Celsius. Celsius is going to be great, dude. I love me some Celsius. I'm going to be hammering some Celsius down at the Mod Nationals. So that is coming up very, very soon. And if you missed it, hold on, there we go. We locked up dates, and it is working. Maybe there it is, right there. May 31st to June 7th. Registration for Rocky Mountain Race Week is going to be January 10th and 11th. Registration for Race Week is going to be 17th and 18th. That is going to be the morning versus the afternoon sessions. There's 2 Dragon Drives happening at the exact same time for Mega Week. Same tracks and everything. It's going to be 500-ish cars. We'll see kind of what that ends up at, plus Road Week and everything like that. So it is going to be off the absolute chain. Next week, I will not have a That's Cool Drink going on. It's election night. So, and this is for Brooks with his brand new BMF ammo. Go check out BMF ammo. That's what I'll be drinking on tonight. And you guys should vote to, however you like. Vote whoever you want. So we got a little bit of that going on. I will be back again on the 12th after the Mod Nationals, and don't know who I'm going to have on yet, but it's going to be absolutely awesome. But that said, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Man, Neil, always on, loving it. Stevie's waiting all day for Tuesday night. Danny Bemis is on already. It's going to be absolutely fun, you guys. But Josh Rich, again, this dude was in Race Week, I believe Race Week last year with the Colorado, running in a quarter-mile class. Talked to him about that, kind of getting into Dragon Drive and then bringing bringing the truck out with all the wick pulled out to put himself on not just the podium, but the top of the podium, and win himself a heads-up race at the end. It's gonna be an awesome night, guys. Josh Rich is going to be on, and he's also the dude that, did the Tokyo drifting and needed that. So, got to talk about that as well. But guys, without further ado, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Tuesday night, That's Cool Drink. Here we go. Mr. Tokyo Drift himself, Mr.
What up,
Josh
man?
Rich, how are you, dude?
I'm great. I'm great.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much for Dalen Cox says bring on the Josh over there.
So Dalen's my go-to co-pilot.
All right. You gotta have a go-to co-pilot.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, I had a whole show about co-pilots.
yeah.
Man, you are lost in the sauce without a co-pilot.
Oh, I know. He was the one beating the studs in and out of this thing that we'll talk about later.
Hell yes. Hell yes. But dude, thanks for coming on. And
Yeah, thanks for
yeah,
having
dude,
me.
like I told you, kind of in the background, we get 5 minutes to talk to each other. This is a chance for us to kind of sit down, break bread in, whichever fashion you like to break the bread in, and you know, tell some lies, talk some cars, especially as it gets
Absolutely.
cold outside. It's raining right now here in South Dakota, snow just west of me. So
Yeesh.
here comes winter, man. Like,
That
um,
sucks.
yeah, but that gives us a little bit of time to sit down and talk, talk race cars and junk. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, dude. But going through your stuff, you've got a lot of history, man. And like I said, I like to try to get into the old school background. Like when my sort of go to start is like, when did Josh Rich realize that he was an idiot and was going to be poor the rest of his life? Like,
Mm,
how old are you? What car are you in? Is it your car? Is it your friend's car? When
yeah.
is the
It
needle in the vein?
yeah, it had to have been high school, and it was a very short, but it was a quick tuner phase. A couple Hondas came and went. But I kind of grew up right when the Fast and the Furious came out, so
Yeah, so we're kind
that
of
that didn't
probably the
that
same
didn't
age
help.
ish.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
I
That
get
didn't
it.
help at all.
I get it.
Uh, they quickly disappeared, and then it was instantly into the off-road world. We did rock crawling for I don't even know how long, several years. But yeah, that's essentially when it started. As soon as I could drive, we were off. We were doing something.
And you
There,
kind of like sort of a similar path as me. Like I had friends that were into muscle cars and stuff like that. I worked at a Honda dealer. Like I
yeah,
was I was like this far away from having the stripes and junk down the side of my CRX. Like
yeah,
I'm so happy I didn't. The only reason I didn't is I didn't have the money for it because I was a
right,
poor kid.
right.
So yeah, dude. I mean, I get it. And then we went into kind of off road and stuff. And you went a little further past where I went. I do have a buddy that got himself into that sort of stuff. He lives in Missouri, and he loves it. But yeah, I mean, you got into like legit rock mounts
Yeah,
and
it
buggy
it
stuff.
it started in Jeeps, and we beat
Okay.
Jeeps, and they were fun and all, and then we went full tube chassis. Um, did a chassis, and it was all Toyota powered, Toyota 4-cylinder, doubler, Toyota axles.
Well, and you
Um,
started kind of
oh
here
yeah, we went
with
there. That was the
Jeeps and
donor.
that deal. So I had this same truck, not the
Yeah.
extended cab, but it was the turbo model,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
and so it
I
had the
had one
good
of those.
trans and junk.
Yep. I had one of those, and I hoped to do the power swap in my buggy, and it just never came around. And they're hard to find.
Yeah, yes,
Um,
they are.
I don't know if I could find another one.
Yeah, I mean they stopped. They only made them 2 years, I think,
Yeah.
seven
Yeah.
and 6 and 7 or something like
Yep.
that. 86 and
Yep.
7, and they were kind of. I mean, they weren't fast or anything, but
No, they
you
weren't
know,
quick. But it was just the cool factor.
yeah, no, exactly. I mean, it made skoo skoo noises and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I ended up putting a turbo on mine, and it ran at Vandermeer, ran in the 14s,
Oh
and
wow.
it was sweet. It was a fun little ride.
Yeah.
And I sold it to a dude who blew it up like the next day. It had a manual boost controller on it, so I'm sure it was
Oh
like,
no.
oh, if this is fast, this has got to
Oh,
be, yeah.
oh
So
no.
whatever. He's calling me, going, "What do you mean this was all?" Yeah, that's yours, pal.
That's funny.
You own it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, you went like nuts on this stuff. Like you did a lot of.
It was pretty wild. We went pretty much everywhere in the Midwest with it. We did a trip to California. We went to King of the Hammers.
Mhm.
We did all the hammer trails. We competed. They had this little competition called the Backdoor Challenge, and it was essentially a race up one obstacle called the back door. And we did that one year. Um, and we beat the crap out of that thing. It was fun. We saw Oklahoma's got some awesome rock crawling. Kansas has some decent little parks to go to, but yeah, we went everywhere with that thing.
Hell yeah, dude.
It was fun.
Yeah, and I mean, for guys that are savvy on this, you said it's all Toyota stuff. Like, is it Toyota axles and everything? It looks like
Yep.
it is, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's all Toyota axles. I mean, it was all chrome ollie stuff.
Right.
Full hydro. I think final gear ratio was like 198-1 with everything in low.
Okay.
Um, I think the best thing I ever did was put those tires there in the picture on there, which was the sticky Treps.
Okay.
Um, not DOT approved. They are sticky as can be. I don't even know, they were like $700 or $800 a tire at the time because they were new. It was retarded.
Well, and
It was
I
dumb.
mean, it's sort of the difference between drag racing on a good
Yeah,
tire and I mean, it's the same sort of thing. The
yeah,
stuff sticks to the rock. I mean, it
yeah,
makes your day that much more fun.
yeah.
So,
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
I get it. That's just part of the deal. And yeah, I've known a ton of off road type dudes, and man, they thrash on on their stuff. And it's
We're done.
for me, it was too much like circle track. Like you got to
Yeah,
enjoy it on the weekends, but then you were wrenching on the stuff all week long
yeah.
to get back the next weekend.
You couldn't hop in it, and drive it to work, or go get ice cream and do burnouts in it. It's almost a seasonal sport.
Right.
You really can't enjoy it as much as drag racing or your drag car or whatever it might be that you can drive on the street.
Well, and that's the thing, like street stuff, like drag and drive type stuff. Real life street and strip.
Yep.
I sold my soul to street and strip cars. I had a race car. That stuff's work. It's a lot of work. And
Yeah.
it's not like circle track. You don't really have to like bang all the dents out and buff it
Right.
every weekend. But there's
Yep.
there's work to do in between racing, and to pull it off of a trailer, race it, put it back on a trailer, and put it back in your garage is so less fun to me than being able to hop in it, go get ice cream,
Yep.
and I mean, whatever. You can scare the crap out of your friends doing stuff like that too. It's
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's the best of all worlds, 100%, and it's
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I getting into the drag stuff, and we'll get into it eventually, but I get to enjoy that more with my two boys than I would have with the rock crawler stuff.
yep.
We can hop in. We've got a whole fleet of fast cars. We can hop in anything and go cruise around and be hoodlums and have a blast.
Tell us about the fleet. Let's do it. Let's dive right in. What do you got for a fleet of junk right now?
So my favorite that I have, and it has a ton of sentimental value, is I've got a '94 Ford F-150 flare side.
Oh,
So
cool.
it was the step side version of the Ford. They called it a flare
Right.
side.
Yep.
My grandfather bought it practically new. Gave it to me in high school as a graduation gift. I drove it through high school a little bit after. Um, and the dumb kid I was at the time, I started getting into rock crawling, so I traded it for a Jeep. But
Okay.
I didn't have the cojones to tell my grandfather that I got rid of his truck or our
You
truck.
hawked his truck for a
I
Jeep.
did, and I felt as I got older, I felt horrible. I'm sure my parents told him, or he might have found out, or he just caught on to it, but I myself never told him. Years went on, years went on. He passed away a couple days before I got married, and that really hurt me. And a couple weeks later, I'm like, I need to find that truck. And it took me about 6, 8 months. I was able to find it. It was about 2.5 hours from where I lived. I
Hell
left
yeah.
work early, and I bombed up there with a pocket full of cash. The guy got a hold of me. We didn't agree on a price over the phone, but I was willing to pay. I think I took like 10 grand with me or something retarded for a
Right.
thousand
Like
dollar truck.
I'll give you whatever
Yeah,
you ask.
it didn't matter. It didn't matter. I roll up, it's some 70-year-old dude, and it was his fishing truck. It was full of
Okay.
fishing poles and tackles, and it had a for sale sign in the window. Like he had been trying to sell it.
How perfect.
I gave him 2 grand. I threw it on my trailer and I bombed home. I was super excited.
Hell
Drove
yes.
it for a few years. I was driving it one day to work and I smoked a deer, totaled it out. It was wrecked. So I bought a new truck. This thing kind of sat. I wanted to do something with it, so I put a 5.3 in it. and a little 76 millimeter precision in it.
Okay.
Turbo 400. It was on a Holly. It was going to be kind of a race car. It was my first attempt at building a race car, and it went horrible. I went through I don't know how many 5.3s. I don't know how much money. It was dumb. So it sat for a little while after that. Finally, I dug it back out. I got a 6-liter LS, threw a hog cam in it. Still had the Turbo 400 on a Holly.
Yep.
Makes about 440 to the tires on my dyno.
That's a
Um,
fun car.
dude,
That's or
it
truck.
is a blast. It's loud, it's obnoxious.
Right.
I welded up the spider gears in the back of it.
Totally. Yeah.
Um,
It's got
it's
all the chop. It
oh
the thing
yeah,
rocks at the stoplights.
but it's a
Um,
'94 F-150, like no
right.
one would expect it.
You'd never expect right. You'd hear it and you'd be looking
Yeah,
for the fast thing. Where's
yeah,
the
yeah. I took it to the track once. It ran a 13.0. It's not slow, but
yeah,
it's the funniest thing. It's got big leather cushy seats.
hell yeah.
It's absolutely hilarious.
I bet it's a great rig to drive around.
Oh, it's amazing. Like it's
Yeah,
my go-to. And we live out in the country now, so I don't have to worry about waking up the neighbors at 4:30 in the morning going to work.
right.
Yeah, it's the best.
Shit, yeah. That is awesome. So you got
Yeah,
granddad's truck.
we got granddad's truck. A couple years ago for Valentine's Day, I bought my wife a fifth gen Camaro.
Okay.
So LS3, it's a stick shift car. It was her
Attaboy.
first stick shift car she ever drove. I put long tubes on it, full exhaust, quick tune. It made 410 to the tires, and I'm like, "Here you go.
Wow.
Here's your first stick shift car. Have fun."
Yeah.
But she romps on it. She has a good time with it. Um,
Yes.
I had tons of toys, and it was about time that she had something. She'd been bugging me about, when do I get something to play with? So
Here you go.
she's got her Camaro, so
Hell yeah.
it's fun.
Nice.
Um, yeah, and obviously we got the Colorado. What else we got floating around here? My father-in-law, we've got his 65 Dodge Dart. So he used to
Okay.
race I think it was IHRA back in the 70s.
Is that
Um,
this car? Is that one?
absolute. That is that
That's
car.
hell yeah.
So he stopped racing, I think, in 79, put it in the barn. And then I think in 2014, we dug it out and went to some old nostalgic drags.
Okay.
But back in the 70s, it was a Chrysler paid car. So we've got receipts from Holly, MSD, Chrysler. When he would go win these bracket races, they'd write him, $100 checks or $200 checks for winning. So we've got that thing. It's got a ton of history.
Hell yeah.
It's pretty cool. So, but we've got a ton of projects. But other than that, that's
What year did you say it is?
65. 65 Dart.
65. I love those things. Is it a V8?
It's a 340 car. Yep. But it's
Nice.
got
Hell
it's
yeah.
got all it's got all the small drivetrain. It's got the smaller, I think it's a 904 is a smaller tranny. It's got the small
Yep.
8.25 rear end. But this was all stuff that Chrysler told him to run back in the 70s. Hey, if you run this smaller stuff, less rotating mass, you're going to be fast, you're going to be competitive. And he did. I mean, that's exactly what he did. And he went on to win a bunch of national bracket stuff back in the 70s. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah, and that's even happening today. Like stock
Yeah.
eliminator cars run a metric 200 transmission because you can if your car came with a 3-speed, it has to have a 3-speed in it. But like
Yep.
that particular transmission uses the least amount of power to run, and it weighs the least. And it's a wacky transmission that came in like early G bodies, and like it's pretty rare actually. And I was able to sell mine for a couple of $100 to some stock eliminator dude that was like, I'm going to put thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of bullshit in this
Yeah.
and barely going to take the power of my Pontiac 455.
Right.
But that's the one to put in a 70 Pontiac 455 because it has to have a 3-speed. And that's it. Yeah, whatever. It's just wacky. Like, because of that car's faster. And if you make the power you make, all the other stuff smaller, it lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's, I mean, that's even the same in off-road world. Like the Toyota 8-inch stuff lives because the thing doesn't weigh a ton. It doesn't make a ton of power. You don't
Right.
need tons. You know, it doesn't need 14 bolts
When when you
if
got the
what you
gearing, it don't matter.
totally. Yeah. And if you keep it light, the drivetrain stays light. It's all good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
keep it rolling.
Yep.
Um, so the Colorado, what led you to the Colorado, and then more specifically, what led you to drag and drive that thing?
Yeah. So I've got a full-time job I do, yada yada yada. But in the part-time I run a small performance shop. I got a dyno, do some small GM tuning and stuff. But I bought the Colorado. It was supposed to be a really basic shop truck. I bought it from a buddy. It was a stock 4.8 LS, no cam, no nothing. Had the world's smallest eBay twin turbos, turbo 400, no trans brake, no nothing. 28 spline, 9-inch, real toothpick, spline
Oh yeah.
shafts.
Yep.
It was leaf sprung. It was supposed to be a 500 horsepower shop truck just for cruising around. Well, obviously that didn't last long. Out came the 4.8, and in goes a Texas Speed 408. Gigantic, not gigantic, but a bigger single turbo.
Right.
Uh, Ended up cutting the back of it completely off, and then four linked back half the truck, and it obviously snowballed out of control.
It that as things
Yeah,
do,
as
as
it
it tends
does.
to happen. Right.
Yeah. Um,
Um, what is the combo? What you first built? Was that it? The 408?
yeah. So when I first started really racing on it, hooning on it, I pulled the 4.8 out, and then I had a Texas Speed long block 408, fully forged deal. It was good to make a ton of power. I had a Force Performance 85 mil, which is kind of on the small side for that kind of cubic inches, but
Mhm.
it's a freaking riot to drive around on the street because it lights so fast.
Totally.
Uh, I bought a FTI, Turbo 400. It's on a Holly, good fuel system. It's a really simple build. Um, it makes 1,100 horsepower on, I think, 21 pounds of boost. It pretty well
Nice.
maxes out that little turbo. But yeah, it's pretty simple combo.
Those are my favorite because people are say a lot because
Yeah,
I'm that guy, dude. I can't fab. I'm not. I'm a bolt on dude. And if you can order a car or order a truck pretty much out of like Summit, it, I mean, ding. What's your
yeah,
excuse? Like you can bolt
right.
this stuff pretty much together and slap it in. That's why I've got a G body. Someone makes everything for a G body, and I'm not a big
Absolutely.
Fox body dude. So you
Not
know,
everyone's got a Fox.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, and my Cadillac's the same way. Like if someone makes something for it, I buy it because I
Yeah,
can't fab it. Like I'm happy that people exist out there that can do it, but um, yeah, you don't really have an excuse other than, I mean, I get it if you're poor,
right.
you can't afford this stuff, but I mean, if you can turn wrenches but you can't fab, you can build I mean, this truck.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't take a lot to have.
No,
I just think that's the best part, and it really does. I think a lot of people look at, your truck looks like a regular. I mean, other than it,
right.
jettisoning the tire off,
Yeah,
it looks like a Colorado, and
right.
other than the roll bar is sticking out of the back, like you
Yeah,
could see that thing driving around, and there might be a dude up the street that has one sitting in his driveway. He's trying to
yeah,
figure out what to do with because he blew the motor up.
right.
Like
They're
you,
they're super roomy. They're easy to throw. You could probably throw a big block in those things pretty easy.
yeah.
Any of those Colorados are just, there's tons of room in them. So
Yeah, and I mean, kind of made famous by the sloppy mechanics guys. And I mean, you same deal. You can look up a recipe of like, here's how you can make an 8-second one of these
yeah,
over and over and over and over, like in 7 different iterations with 3 or 4 different fuel management systems. Like the internet, as bad as it is for a lot of things, is amazing for hot rod people because
right.
we don't need to
No,
reinvent the wheel.
I
Everything's
know.
out there. You just
My,
and I
my, fa-
mean,
my favorite is doing a Google search, and I end up on some forum back from 2010, and
Yep.
that guy's, getting me out of a pension on something he learned 14 years ago that I'm finding on some random forum.
100%.
Those are my favorite.
Those are my people. Like those are the
Yeah.
people that stumble on that thing and they were smart enough to chronicle it for the world,
Yep.
and now we're the beneficiaries of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and
They did all the
when
work.
you mentioned like you've got a dyno, like I don't have a dyno, but a lot of people have dynos and or have had their
Right.
bullcrap dynoed, and so I can like, hey man, like my stuff should do about that, right?
Yeah.
Like plus or
Ah,
minus.
a dyno will hurt your feelings. Like
Yeah,
I I will say the internet has ruined horsepower numbers because the internet will hurt your feelings when you go to the dyno.
right.
So yeah, they're
Hear
real
that.
heartbreakers.
Oh yeah, especially different brands of them as well, like
Yeah,
Mustang
absolutely.
dynos,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
specifically, which
yep.
of course is the only thing I've ever had any of my crap on.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
you know, yeah, dynos are heartbreakers, says Mister
yeah.
Wright. Um, so was it? It was pretty much serious from the get. I mean, you
Pretty much. I left the 4.8 in it for a little while. It would run low. It'd run low tens. But the whole time I'm, running low tens on the stock 4.8, I had this 408 sitting in the corner because the
Mhm.
plan was to throw the 408 in my flare side.
Okay,
But I didn't never really want to chop the flare side up and put a cage in it. It wasn't going to be a race car, but I had a race car motor for it.
right.
So then I just started throwing stuff at the Colorado, and I'm one of those guys that, other than the flare side, I don't have a vehicle that I really am attracted to.
Okay,
I'll take any shit box and make it go fast, whether it's a Colorado
yeah.
or a Pinto.
Whatever you got
I,
sitting around, like
I'm not attracted to any vehicle really. There's nothing that goes, oh, I wish I had that. I like oddball stuff, but the Colorado is just something I had. So
right,
I
right.
just rolled with it.
It really is the guy that on the corner that had one sitting in the
Yeah,
driveway. Like I just had
absolutely.
this, so let's make it fast.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and then so you did a race week right on a big tire,
Yep. So
running
we
quarter mile, I
yeah,
big tire.
so the first one we did was 2.0 last year, which would have been what, 23.
Hmm.
And I'm semi-retarded and I didn't read the rules. So I wanted to run the 10.0 class and I showed up on a slick, which you can't do. You got to be on a radial.
Got to be on a DOT tire.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Matt politely told me that on the last day, and I'm sure someone threw a fit because we were like in second or third place. We were doing really well. So that's kind of how the first 2.0 went. We did
And
go on to win we did go on to win the bracket race on the last day of 2.0 of
you
23.
like Matt's still like his standard thing is you got to run with the street tires on.
You got to, yeah, your radial, yeah.
Um, your stuff was still fast on the street tires, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I had a set of yeah. So I had a set of radials with me. And Matt was like, "Oh, throw the radials on. If you can prove you can get down, we'll leave it be." And I went out and I tried to blow this thing up. I think I ran like 10 back-to-back passes. The training had to have been 3,000 degrees. And I think I had like a 10.05 average hot lap in it on the radials. But I think whoever, was upset about it, which they have the right to do,
Is what it
complain to
is.
Matt. Yeah, they complained to Matt. And they're like, yeah, we're still upset about it. He should have read the rules. So, I had my shop name on the back window. I didn't want any heartburn. So I just took a 20-second pass on the last day. And we just left the radials on and we went to prove a point on the last day and we won the bracket race on the
Yep.
radial. So,
Yep.
yeah, we were on a mission after that.
Hell yeah. And then the next year show up on the little tires and
Yeah.
Anthony Harville pops in and
Yeah.
says that, you definitely are a special kind of dude. You're not quite as special as the stick shift type people, but
No, that's a
you know,
different breed there for
we're,
sure.
we're yeah, we're a little different
Yeah.
cats, but so
You like going fast the hard way.
yeah, I mean, exactly. It's yeah, there's a lot going on and I don't really go that fast, so
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, so little tire. And have you done any little tire stuff before?
No, that was the first time, and I always thought it was cool. And I had this no tin soldier, no prep setup, 4 link on the back of the Colorado. I'm like, oh, this thing's gonna be awesome. And it was. I like the idea of only running eighth mile all week because it's not as hard on your crack.
Hmm.
The hardest part of that is running from the eighth to the end. That just tears shit up.
And it's
So
noise and it's RPM
yeah,
and
yeah. So I bought some baby tires and we just went for just to try it. We didn't test or anything. We just showed up and
no kidding.
first, yeah, first burnout, we peeled the stickers off the tires and away we went. So it was
Hell
just a
yeah.
whim.
And ended up with a pretty good week. I mean,
Yeah,
Melissa was kind of on your tail with
yeah.
that awesome Grand Marquis.
Is it Grand Marquis? Yeah, I love that
Yep.
car.
Yeah, it was the license plate was Biz, and
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
Biz Marquee.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, had
I love that
hubcaps
thing.
and all the stuff, and it looked like, I mean, that thing. But
Oh,
both you guys side by side.
it,
I mean, talk about
I,
sleepers, especially in
I,
street modes,
I was in my, Hispanic landscaping truck and she was
right?
on her way to the bingo parlor. I
Yeah,
mean, it was the most oddest setup.
exactly. And that was number one and number two, and then she had some issues, and she was,
Yeah,
you were winning, you were doing, you're still doing the thing.
yeah,
She had some issues, and then you ended up running away with the class, but.
yeah,
Again, not without some drama because you turn those into
yeah.
scrap metal,
No,
and
they're hanging up. They're hanging up at the shop on the mantle as a souvenir.
hell yeah! And I saw it happen, and I knew immediately. I was like, I've seen this before. He needs studs. Did it? I mean, were they just not
It,
tight? You
man, I
think?
don't know. I honestly don't know. So, Quick Performance actually reached out to me. They saw 1320's video. They
Hmm.
sent me a message on Facebook, and they were like, "Hey, call us as soon as you can. We want to talk to you," because they saw the video.
Right.
And talking to those guys, they're like, "Man, you're right at the ragged edge of half-inch studs for what this thing weighs and what kind of power it makes. We really need to get you into 5/8 studs." So maybe they were loose. I don't know. I'll admit I didn't torque them.
Right.
I hit them with the rattle gun, and they seem to be holding.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's, I mean, what's really funny about that to me is the reason I know that's exactly what happened when it happened is Zach Dykage, who's Melissa's husband, has done the exact same thing on his four lug Fox stuff, and I think he's done it like twice, and it
yeah,
looked identical. I mean, identical to that.
yeah,
So I was like, that's pretty funny because I know that's what happened because of that guy.
yeah,
And you were in front of his wife in the race. But
yeah.
either way, thank God it didn't happen at the top end
Oh, that'd have
or
been
something
frightening.
stupid.
That'd have been frightening. But I do want to shout out Quick Performance because they found out about it. We talked on the phone, and then they really so the 9 inch that's in the Colorado has small bearings.
Hmm.
And they're like, we don't know how you're not eating bearings every 100 miles with a 35 spline shaft. There's just no bearing diameter there. We'd really like your housing so we could put big ends on it. We'll stuff shavs in it, get it back to you. I'm like, well, I got 666 coming up. I really need the truck running and driving. So they like next day shipped me 35 spline small bearing shafts with 5/8 studs. And they
Okay.
didn't they didn't ding me for it. They didn't they just like here you go. Go don't do dumb shit anymore and send me some shafts.
How awesome is that? I've heard nothing but good. I've got a quick performance
Oh yeah.
housing in my car. I've had no problems with it. In fact, I've got their two third members of theirs. I love that they
Yeah.
put them in the bucket.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my favorite thing ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean they have been really helpful to a ton of racers in a ton of spots.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
so yeah, big shout out to those dudes. They put their money where their mouth is, and
Yeah.
they're yeah. I mean, there's a reason that they've been in business for so long and why so many people run their stuff. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not it ain't on accident, and you use a
Yeah.
torque wrench after
Yeah.
that. I promise you that. Um, so I mean, that was like I said, that was a pretty good ride. You needed some lug studs and some new underwear, but got yourself taken care of and end up with the win, and then end up in this shootout. and
Yeah.
running quarter mile on that 26-inch tire.
Yeah.
That's surprising to me how much top end charge that truck has with that little what gear is in that thing?
Well, it's got a 328, and after doing that event, I'm thinking about going to a 355. After doing some more quarter mile testing and stuff on a big tire, I think that truck would really like a 355. I don't know if it could swing a 373,
Right.
but I think the only reason it was competitive on that baby tire was the 328 gear
Right.
and the Turbo 400.
What RPM is that thing good for?
I know I touched the limiter at 8,100, and I don't think that's great on a stroker, but we did it anyways.
And I mean, stroker plus boost, and people will tell you all the time,
Yeah,
oh my god, it
yeah,
pulls the piston.
yeah,
What? There's a million other people running 408s and 403s and 402s, and there's a lot
yeah,
of guys even running 4 1/4 or 4 1/8 inch stroke on some stuff.
yeah.
It's fine, dude. That stuff lives. Don't let anyone on the internet tell you
I,
that
I'm
4 inch stroke stuff can't spin RPM. It can.
Yeah, it's been in the truck almost 3 years now. It's done tons of no prep stuff, tons of drag and drives. It's been a phenomenal motor. Knock on wood. So
Hell yeah. I'm gonna show a real quick video just right off of your Facebook
yeah,
from that quick 16 shootout,
yeah,
and we can talk over it, but you can also hear it kind of
yeah.
going on. But this was funny.
Right lane is David
Oh,
Black, 85 Camaro, the third gen. Again, test and tuning garage, come on up. 6 and 7, please. He was getting the flashers on him and turns on the
and
That was funny.
no, I kind of feel bad after the fact, but that thing was on rails and it felt good, and I was in the moment. All it was a little toggle switch, and it is what it is.
I'm for it. I think it's great.
Yeah,
That's just that's just me. I'm an aggressive
yeah.
dude. And then the finals race against Vince.
Oh,
Um, I'll pull that thing up real quick.
that was amazing.
It was insane. And there's other views of this from 1320 and stuff like that. This is
Yeah,
just kind of a clip off of the live feed, but you can go see all this
yeah,
stuff on 1320. I'm sure you've got it on your social medias and
yeah.
stuff like that. But the in-car stuff from those is absolutely insane.
Mm.
But this you had already won $1,000 from winning Rowdy Radial. Trying to win another $1,000, and again doing it on that little bitty tire.
Yeah,
And Vince Rui's no joke. This
no,
guy's been to every single race week. Yeah, he's whatever. He no joke. So the finals pass in quick 16 coming up here.
So here we go. Put a cap on the quick 16. Rich on that little bitty tire out of Rowdy Radial. He's a little bit ahead. Win light. Right lane for Rich.
Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. If you rewatch that video, and I watched it a couple of times before this thing, you're ahead at 60 foot. He's ahead at eighth mile, and then
yeah.
you drive back around him.
So it
And
was
it's like it's why you have a bumper on him at
yeah.
60 foot.
So I had him at the tree, and then I spun at the 60. By the end of this event, those little tires were done. Every
Right.
every round, every round in quick 16, that thing spun. So I had him at the tree, and then I spun, and he had me, and then I had to. I don't know how, but we caught him on the big end, and it was probably the best race of the night. It was good.
It was the best race of the weekend
Yeah.
of the week. It was insane, and it was the finals, which was awesome. Two awesome dudes, and both of you were going through some stuff. He had the JB Weld Express still, stuff on his. Yeah, dude, it was pretty awesome. Pretty sweet way to cap
Vin-
up,
yeah.
an awesome race week.
Yeah. Vince has a beautiful car. That's an amazing car.
Hell yeah. And then you turn the thing around, you win a bunch of cash, and you take it out onto 666.
Yeah. So
And
that was
you're like fresh. I always use fresh off of these because this is hard ass work. And
yeah.
that one was a lot of extra hard ass work. Talk to us about Sick, dude.
So,
It looked like an epic trip.
so Sick was amazing. And Sick was the first drag and drive that I did that didn't start and stop at the same track.
Right.
So
Right.
this
Yeah, I think
this
it's
was
the only second one
yeah.
in history that's ever done that.
So this was the first one where I left, the Cummins and the trailer at home, and I hopped in the Colorado and I just started driving. I think, we went from Salina, Kansas to Ozark Raceway. We did the whole event down all the way down to Roswell, New Mexico,
Right.
and then had to drive the 11 or 12 hours back to Salina. It was absolutely brutal. And, Route 66, the site's amazing. All the stops are amazing. The road is absolutely garbage.
It's
It is
junk. It was killing stuff.
horrible. Oil pans. We had on the Colorado, I had the rear hitch portion broke. I didn't notice it. I was getting gas and I noticed the parachute was leaning backwards. So I started looking at the chassis and I found a tube that had cracked. Found a local guy. He's like, "Oh yeah, just over the bridge. There's Bobby Jim. He's got this little mechanic shop. He might have a welder." So I rolled in. He's like, "Oh yeah, it's in the corner. Help yourself." We got it bandaged up. I gave him some beer money and we rolled on. But other than a little broken tube, it was a pretty uneventful week. I think we finished fourth overall.
Yeah,
It
and
was all
well in the fives, right?
yeah. Well, I think it was a 572 average. It
Yeah,
was all eighth mile all week.
right.
Um, but yeah, no, the sites were amazing. The gas stations, the museums, everything along that route was phenomenal.
And all those kind of, if you guys don't know, all those one-off sick events, the Death Week and Sick 66, and I'm sure some of the stuff coming up this year, they put everyone in one class. They run an eighth mile. Everyone races in one class. It's really you're doing the drag and drive thing and you're racing, but it's really more about the adventure for that. It's a lot of
Yeah,
the touring Route 66 with your hot rod and with a bunch of like-minded people. And yes, it is a competition. Yes, you have some stuff going on, but it's built on having your hot rod out with people. That's
yeah,
its main goal.
yep,
But
yep,
and I've done little sections of Route 66, obviously race week type stuff. But to be
yep.
able to do that much of it and race on all in all those places, it had to be amazing. Were those all new racetracks for you?
Um, the only one that wasn't new was Tulsa. We had been to Tulsa before,
Okay.
but Ozarks was new. Mocan was
Ozarks is
new.
awesome. Isn't Ozarks
Yeah,
cool?
yeah. The little starting lane where it's got the little kicker at the starting line, that was cool.
Yep.
Um, Mocan's somewhat local, but it's not, one that I go to all the time. That was new
Right.
to me. Where did we go? Albuquerque. That was out in the middle of BFE. I
Right.
mean, I never thought we were going to get there. And then Roswell was pretty cool with all the aliens and stuff they
it
had
looked
going on.
it looked like an absolute trip, especially that Roswell track. Like everything alien out there.
Yeah.
All the eateries were alien. Everything's aliens.
It's right next to a airplane graveyard, so there's all these airplanes taken apart, and it's got this. We showed up at night, and we camped all week. We showed up night to camp at the track, and it was just this weird, eerie feeling because here's this gigantic airport, all the lights are on, nothing's going on. It's like abandoned.
Right.
It was kind of odd, but it was cool.
Hell yeah. Yeah. It looked like a fun trip,
Yeah.
and yeah, being able to go out there and finish fourth. And did you do it? Did you put a big tire back on it for that one?
I did.
Big.
Yeah, big. But what's sad is I think I had a slower, if not the same average as a small tire. So I think that goes back to the gearing, and the Colorado doesn't have a big fancy front suspension. It's stock Colorado struts in the front. So
And
I don't
it's
have
even got like stock steely Colorado wheels and
yeah,
junk.
those are stock wheels with like a special Volkswagen like Jetta tire or something. So
Right.
the front end is stock Colorado. So the short track in that thing, there's no tunability. I can't slow the front from coming up on the leave. I just got to play with the tune to like roll the power in after the 60 foot. So it averages a 1.4 60 foot all the time. It just makes up for it for, all the power on the big end.
Right.
So
Right.
it was kind of sad to run sick and then have the same average as a 26.85 tire, but
Right. And you're like, I should
it
have
is
just
what
brought
it
the
is.
little tire, like whatever.
Yeah. 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 They're
But
cheaper
yeah,
too.
now you can play with gearing and figure it out, and
Yeah.
whatever 8100, you got a little bit of room.
It's fine. It took it.
Yeah, whatever. It's all good. Who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah.
It's all
What
good.
made me nervous? So the finals of Quick 16, that little 85 mil turbo I have is pretty well done at 21 pounds. It makes no more power after that. So I threw like 3 or 4 degrees of timing at this thing, hoping that it wouldn't grenade itself in the finals. And I think it took it, and it was fast. It was rolling.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Obviously, the boards were off, so we don't know what the stuff ran, but do you have a draggy in
No,
that?
I don't. Vince said his tune-up might have been like an 850 tune-up. Um, and I had never ran that truck that hard in the quarter mile. I left the
Mm-hmm.
parachute at home because I planned on running 8th mile all week. I really wish I would have had the parachute because that thing was trucking on the big end.
Moving.
Yeah,
And same
yeah,
deal. Colorado stuff, it's probably got stock Colorado brakes and junk in it.
yeah. Stock Colorado fronts and drums still, as everyone saw on the rear. So it's
Yeah, I'm
still
sure
drum
everyone's
brakes
like,
on the
oh my
90.
God,
Yeah,
it's not even a pro
yeah.
mod.
What are you doing?
I love drums. They're great.
Yeah,
Whatever.
they're fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Especially if that's the quick deal, it's the 11-inch like Granada
yeah,
drums. They're great. It's the
yeah,
same thing on the back of my Malibu. That thing stops
yeah.
awesome.
It
Whatever.
stops fine.
The front does most of it. Don't let
Yeah.
anyone tell you otherwise.
And it's a truck. It's not like a Camaro where it's aerodynamic.
Right.
It's fighting itself.
It'll stop
Yeah, it's fine.
eventually.
Yeah.
Do you want to drop the new car
We
to the
can. We let everybody
17
know.
people watching? It's probably
Yeah.
it's like your wife and my girlfriend and
Maybe.
3 of our
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
So
So next year the Colorado will not exist. We're gonna pull all the guts out of it, and I've partnered with a good buddy, Rodney Geist, and he's got he was building a 25-2 tube chassis S10. He kind of, wanted to do something different. So I'm like, hey, man, let me, throw my power in your S10. We'll team up together. I'll go do cool shit. I'll show off your fab work, and, we'll go run sevens and, dominate everything. So next year, I'll be rocking a second gen S10. It's a full tube chassis deal. It should cert to 25.2, which is, I think, 6.0s or 650s, depending on what it weighs.
mhm.
And it's kind of an odd deal because it's still on leaf springs.
Whoa, wait, what?
Yeah. So being factory leaf spring style of suspension in the back, and it's got about this much S10 frame rails in the front, so it's stock S10 frame rails. It's going to fit into some no prep, true
Okay.
street classes. So
On buggy
it's kind of
springs.
it's on mono leafs, yeah, on the
I
rear.
mean, Doug Cook is going fast as crap on his right now.
Oh yeah, I know.
Mark Mickey.
Wow. Yeah, no,
Or no, Mark Mickey's got a 4-link in his car. But
yeah.
who's got the Gorilla? 1 second. There we go. We're back.
There you are.
Sorry. Lost my internet for a moment.
I wasn't sure.
Hey.
It's like tornado style winds here in Kansas, so the internet's been horrible here in Kansas. So
It's probably a little from column A, a little from column B. No big deal.
yeah. No, you're good.
But no, I mean you can make that stuff work for sure. I mean, there's
Yeah.
guys doing it. So Mills is the other dude with the golden gorilla.
Yeah. Yeah. So the goal is to have it done by Mega Week. We're going to show it off then. I'm going to go do a little no prep deal with the Colorado November 9th. And then after that, motors coming out, trannies coming out. We're throwing a gigantic, 98, not gigantic, but 98 millimeter turbo on it. It's going to make some power and it's going to be super light. So
hell yeah.
I'm pretty excited. And Rodney's a phenomenal fabricator. So I'm excited to showcase his tubing work, his sheet metal work. It's going to be pretty cool.
It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see
Yeah.
it. I'm excited for a 25.3 chassis with leaf springs. I think that's sweet.
Yeah. It's going to be different.
Hell yes. And then how much? So your thing makes 1,100 now. You think with an 84?
Yeah, it's got an 85. It makes 1,100 on 21 pounds. Rodney's truck currently has the turbo kit's done. It's got a Force Performance GT55 base turbo. I think it's like a 98-ish.
Okay.
It's going to be a lot more turbo than I'm used to. It's going to really complement that 408 nicely.
Hell yeah.
Should be able to, if the motor will take it, 1,100 wheel, I think is what that turbo is good for.
Hell yeah.
Plus the Colorado's heavy. That thing's, with me in it, it's like 3,700 pounds.
Wow.
Everyone thinks Colorados are like an S10. They're not. They're complete opposite of an S10. They're heavy.
That thing's super heavy.
Yeah, so we're going to shave a bunch of weight going to the S10, and it's going to be exciting.
Hell yeah. Shout out to Mr. Dino Cardella.
Yeah.
Says you better have your ass at Harrington. I can't believe that you're not falling down drunk outside right now.
No, he probably is. There's not much else to do in Manhattan or Junction City or wherever he's at. He's about an hour from where I'm at.
Yeah, well, yeah. He's still my only casualty on That's Cool drink.
That's what I heard. It didn't go over well.
It's all good. It's all good. I'm going to start jumping into some of my questions. If you got questions out there, out in the comment section, start popping those in there as well. But Josh, I'm going to start them off with, what's the largest thrash that you've been a part of?
So it seems like almost every drag and drive, it's on my own crap. And it's either the night before, because either, I've got a full-time job. I've got, a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old. I'm trying to run a small shop. So my stuff tends to be back burner. And it seems like every night I'm slowly packing, whether it's a tent or my underwear. And it's always last minute. Go home, take a nap, and then we're leaving at 5 a.m. So, but it's all part of it. I plan on it each time. I know I'm going to be running late. It is what it is.
And here you are.
Yeah.
Real quick, this is a good segue as well. Brian Dater wants to know when the next shop dyno day is, and pimp your shop a little bit. Tell us about the shop and where people can find it.
Yeah. So shop name is Flareside Performance, after my Flareside F-150. I got the dyno jet. I'll rent the dyno out. I'll do some stock ECM tuning with HV tuners. I'll do some Holley stuff. Really only focus on the GM stuff. Being a small shop, I didn't find the need to really try to dabble in Coyote stuff or Hemi stuff. Really just wanted to specialize in one thing, and being part-time, that keeps me plenty busy. We got a Facebook page. You can check us out on Facebook. I just bought, 50 acres out in the country. So we're in the process of building a shop out here. I'm going to get rid of my shop in town and moving my dyno and everything out to the house.
Cool.
Should help productivity quite a bit, and I'll be able to get a lot more done, and then be closer for the boys. They can come out and hang out in the shop with me while I'm goofing on stuff, and should be great. Hopefully by the end of the year, we'll move out here. We'll probably do the next dyno day this spring here out at the house. So
hell yeah,
pretty excited for it.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And that's one of those, like, do your side gig until your main gig either goes away or until it outpays the main gig.
Yeah. And, I don't know that I have the cojones to jump in and do the part-time gig full time.
You just need to
Yeah.
get fired. Like that's what happened to me. Like once they can you,
Yeah.
and
Then it
then you're
is
like,
what it is.
okay, here we go. I'm
Yeah.
going full speed ahead on this,
Plan B.
or
Plan B.
else. Yeah,
Yeah. And
exactly.
you're crushing it. So you're doing a great job.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. And that's just part of it. I think the only reason I'm crushing it is because I didn't have
You
the
have
ball. I
to.
was never going to quit my job, dude.
Yeah.
So whatever, just get
Yeah.
fired. That's my advice to everybody. Go out and get fired.
Yeah.
And then your side gig has to be your main gig. And then
Yeah.
guess what? Here we go.
Yeah. They just got to
Um,
keep the EPA from doing more dumb shit.
yeah, exactly. That's a big ass thing
That
your
sucks.
world,
Yeah. Yeah.
for sure. So yeah, check it out, Flairside Performance, Facebook and all that stuff. And if
Yep.
you're
Yep.
Salina, right area.
Yep. Salina, Kansas. Yep. Right
Yep.
where I-70 and I-135 meet, right kind of in the middle of Kansas.
So if you're a Salina guy and you want to rent the dyno, get with Josh and
Yep.
Flairside. And if you need some tuning done, you do Gen 3, 4, and 5, or you just 3 and 4?
Just 3 and 4. The 5 stuff's wonky, and there's not a lot of demand in this area for it. So it really just
Right.
it's not worth the spending the time in it right now.
I get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Gen 3 and 4 up to about 2014 stuff.
Yep.
If it's got an OBD2 plug in it, he can tune
Yep.
it. I
Yep.
get a lot of people, a lot of times, trucks, dude. If you got a like 2500 HD 6-liter truck, if you got a 3500 HD 8.1 truck,
Yeah.
bring that crap to a tuner and let
Yeah.
them do some work on that stuff. For God's sake, they're so choked from the factory tune. A 2500 HD truck, 6-liter truck with a tune
Yeah.
on it is a whole different animal. Please
Yeah.
tune your trucks.
It's amazing that these 5.3, 6.0s, whatever the LS platform is, it's amazing that they live to see 300,000 miles, because when you crack those things open and really start looking at them, they're never in power enrichment. Like
Right.
it's delayed for 90 seconds. It's not enabled till 90% TPS. Like, how do these trucks and stuff like live this long?
Yeah, when you're putting all the weight on it and you're putting
Yeah.
tickling the throttle body with your toes, and it's not
Yeah.
putting any additional fuel in.
No,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So I recommend that for everybody. I don't even know what that stuff costs now.
Yeah.
It's way less than you would think. And when you drive away from that place, you're going to be like, all the money I spent on stupid fuel additives and all that stupid crap to try to get more power and mileage, you just
Yeah.
tune it.
Yeah.
For crying out loud.
Don't do the edges and the Diablos and the Amazon tuners and
Dude, you're more than half to the cost of a real tune if you've got that junk.
Yeah,
Take
absolutely.
it to a real tuner. For crying
Absolutely.
out loud. If you learn nothing from this, take your 2500 HD to a tuner.
There you go.
Call Flairside Performance. They'll wake that shit right up.
Yeah.
What is your best memory from a drag and drive?
Well, I mean, obviously the studs. That's a hard one to forget. I mean, they've all been special. The 2.0 last year in 23, going from the slick to the radial, had memories. I don't know that I can pick a specific one. They've all had some sort of impression, up in the old memory. So
Yeah.
I don't think I can pick one.
I get it. Again, if you got questions, throw them in the comments. Thanks to Fuzzy and you saved them from burning their stuff up at 2.0.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, that was not great. Well, fortunately, the short story. So Fuzzy and CJ and them pitted next to us this last year. CJ had a beautiful silver 3rd-gen Camaro, 408. I think it's a Pro Charger, Power Glide. It had all the stuff thrown at it. Beautiful car. And we hadn't really talked in anything, but I could hear him coming back to the pits. He's like, "Man, this thing's spitting and sputtering when I leave, and just doing silly stuff, when I let off the trans brake." So they, fumble around with it, go back out, make a second hit, and they're like, "Oh, it's still breaking up and fumbling." And I piped up and like, "Hey, bring me your laptop. Let me take a look at it." This thing, they're learning and stuff, and I get it. And It's a pump gas car, 13.0 air fuel, 28 degrees of timing.
Oh my
And
God.
I'm looking at the tune file. I'm like, all right, guys, pull a spark plug out. They pull spark plugs out, strap's gone. Threw plugs in it. I gave him a quick tune file, and I think he ran like a 10.0, if not a high 9, first lick out. So I'm glad we ran into him, or else CJ'd probably be putting a motor in this thing.
Right.
Um, that race week. So it was fun, super cool. Bunch of guys. They had a blast. It was their first dragon drive.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was a good group, and we ended up, pitting next to each other all week, and yeah, they were a lot of fun.
You meet some of the coolest people that you never even thought you'd ever meet. Just
Yeah,
pit next to them. It's just the coolest thing
yeah.
ever.
No, it just works out.
Jim Hopping wants me to ask you about Kias. And then Dalen Cox also says Kias were the best.
Yeah. So Kia's was where there was like a little posse of us here in Salina, and we were doing the Gambler 500 stuff, and Dalen stumbled onto a two-door Kia Sportage. And
Okay.
it's like a poor man's Geo Metro 4-cylinder, 5-speed. It's a hairdresser's car is what it is what Dalen
Yep.
calls it.
Yep.
His was a two-door convertible, and we did a bunch of Gambler 500 stuff. I ended up finding a four-door Kia, beat the shit out of it. A buddy found another four-door. There was like 4 or 5 of them, by the end of the month.
Hell
They
yeah.
were all the same color. It was the dumbest shit, but we had so much fun with them piles of shit. So
And
it was
the
cool.
Gambler, we mentioned a little bit backstage. Tate
Yeah,
helped me with it. I was in the Aztec 200. That's an Aztec
yeah,
Hot Wheels up there. And I met Tate, who's the Gambler 500 dude. And
yeah,
it's a bunch of goofy people to get together with pile of shit cars, and you go do stupid stuff. But like the goal
yeah,
at the end of it is to clean up a trail.
yeah,
Like there's an ultimate like kind of good goal for humanity at the end of
yeah,
being idiots,
yeah. Don't
which I'm
ask.
all about.
Yeah, don't ask if it's a race because it's far from being a race.
Right, right. No, it's definitely not a race, but it's idiots all in the same place at the same time
Yeah,
doing stupid crap. And that dude's a solid dude. And yeah, Fuzzy says that they were lucky to pit next to you, and TJ's very
yeah,
thankful for your help. But yeah, dude, Kia Sportage, you said it was.
yeah.
That sounds
We
like
make
an absolute blast.
they all had snorkels, and mine had like a mailbox on the top of the snorkel to keep water from coming in it, and
Shit,
homemade
yeah.
lift kits, and eBay's cheapest mud train tires, and they were huge turds. They had no power to get out of their own way, but
Yep.
they'd go anywhere, and they were cheap, so they
What
were
would go
fun.
wrong? I mean, what could go wrong if 3 or 4
Nothing went wrong.
buddies get
You
Kias?
couldn't kill them. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they were phenomenal.
Hell yeah. Like pit maneuvering your buddy
Yeah,
right off the side of the road,
yeah,
allegedly.
right.
Um, Tell me about the one that got away. What car did you sell you shouldn't have sold?
Um, Obviously, it would have been the flare side, like we talked about. Um, that one, had a lot of sentimental stuff. Ended up finding it, buying it back. Other than that, okay, I will. All right, I take that back. The flare side's obviously number one, and then I built a Toy Story Pizza Planet replica truck. It
Okay,
was a it was a
I saw some pictures of that.
it was a
Two
mid
wheel
'80s
drive
Toyota.
Toyota,
It was
yellow.
yellow, white topper. My neighbor buddy Blake 3D printed me the rocket up top. I mean,
Yep.
it was as close to a replica as a Pizza Planet truck as you could be. We threw a little turbo on it, blow through carburetor, and my boys severely missed that thing. They loved the Pizza Planet truck, but it got to the point it was just sitting. It wasn't getting used. It was more of an ornament. But if I sold it for a ridiculous amount of money because it's an iconic kind of vehicle. I could have
Right.
sold I could have sold 50 of them if I had them and made a boatload of money, but it just went to a new home. So
There was Stevie says Pizza Planey.
yeah,
There was a guy kind of near where we used to live over in Morrison in kind of near Denver that had an autocross one. The same
yeah,
deal, yellow 2 wheel drive, but it had all the autocross stuff on it with the white topper and the little rocket on the top, and Then I saw it in the 24-hour Lemons race. That same truck. So come on now. There we go. Hey, we're back. Anyway, yeah, Pizza Planet stuff is always good, especially if you got kids. Like they gotta love
Oh,
that.
they loved it. Yeah, it was fun.
The one I give you a heads up on is what
Yes.
I'm going to ask you next.
Yes.
Your favorite drag and drive car that's not yours that
Yeah.
you would either own or drive if they're not the same car.
Yeah. So, and I don't even care if I drive it, but if Guido would let me get in the GTO and just live on the two-step for a little, I'd be super happy.
Dude,
That
that car is
that
so sweet.
that car just does things for me. So, I don't even care to drive it. If I could just, hang out on the two-step for, a half hour or something, I'd be happy.
For a half hour
Yeah.
or something. No, that car is
Yeah.
cool.
Yes.
Pontiac dudes. It's
Proven.
got a Pontiac.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he said that he had 108,000 miles on that car since he restored it. And he's putting like 30,000 miles a year on that car.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, for Sick Week, he puts on mud flaps, he puts on studded snow tires,
Yeah.
and he makes half of his drive in the snow with that car because surprise, surprise, the dude doesn't own a truck and trailer. He drives that everywhere. So yeah, it's that dude and that car, pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I don't, like I said, I don't care to drive it. I just want to bang on the two-step for a little bit. So
and it does do some spectacular stuff on the two
it
step.
does.
It bangs and
It does.
pops and fireballs come
Oh,
out of
yeah.
it, and it's yeah.
Yeah.
The first time he had that exhaust on that car, and he was testing out the two step. We were at a gas station, and it's it's got a cover on the top, and it was loud, man. And he got out, and he was like, "Oh, wait, you're a combat vet, right? That might kind of bother you." And I was like, "It was all right, but thanks for thinking of me after the fact, you dick." Yeah, because if you never heard that
That's
car,
funny.
that
Oh,
thing
yeah.
it's loud as shit on the two
It's,
step.
yeah. It's funny.
Hell yes. He's a big MS3 pro guy.
Yeah.
He waves that flag like crazy. So
Yeah. Yeah.
if you're a Pontiac dude, a stick dude, or an MS3 pro dude, Rich Keto will be your friend. I promise you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
This would be a good one because you just visited a bunch of new tracks. But what's your favorite racetrack?
Oh, I mean, it's going to have to be Bandamere. I mean, as cliche as that sounds,
It's not cliche at all, dude.
being able to attend 2.0 and 23 and hanging out there for a couple days. I mean, that was phenomenal, amazing place. Hopefully they can, duplicate it. I don't know how you're going to duplicate it, but that has to be like the go-to favorite place.
Oh yeah, and that I mean, 5 minutes from my place, it was yeah. That was my track.
Yeah.
It sounds like they've got some land procured, so it sounds like it's going to come back, which is great. I don't know if it's going to be the same. I don't know if it's going to, who knows what their plan is.
Right.
About 20 years ago, they almost sold that place, and they were going to make like a multi-use facility. It was going to be a road course and a drag strip, and probably a mud pit, and God knows what else. I think that's probably in the plans now. If they're going to bring it back, they're going to bring it all back.
Yeah.
And it'll go kart track. It'll be cool. I think it's going to be sweet once they get it figured out. But
Yeah.
I'm with you. Not even just because I just lived 5 minutes from there. Bandamere was amazing. Kudos to Matt for bringing RaceWeek up there. What a cool deal to turn Rocky Mountain. Same deal. Let's go check it out, and then bring RaceWeek up. So those folks who typically don't get to see that view, that drive, those racetracks, the chance to get that done. And once Bandamere has a track reset, then we're going to have that track out west again, and then that Rocky Mountain can turn back into the Rocky Mountain. With Pueblo getting some upgrades over the winter, Vandermeer being new, Carney and something NS or whatever. Hopefully, Great Bend gets their shit together.
Yeah,
It'd be nice to get.
Yeah, Great Bend's about an hour from here, so there's tons of positive rumors floating around that they might have their stuff together in the next. I don't know if it'd be next year, probably the year after, but tons
They'll
of
probably
rumors.
need to, as soon as they get it figured out, it's probably a year of fixing, and then back the next year would be my guess. Because I think from what I've heard, that whole thing needs to come back out.
We attended the last event before they closed, and I've raced on some pretty crappy tracks compared to that place. But I get the, if you accept it, then you're kind of stuck with it, and I get what you paid for, and you want the best, and you're not getting the best. I get that, but I've raced on far worse tracks. I promise you that.
Yeah, and I mean, again, not throwing anybody under the bus or nothing like that. But I mean, you were on some of those tracks at 66. They're great tracks, but they're not perfect, and they whatever. They really, I think Great Bend's big thing was always it's going to be the best track available.
Yeah,
and then it wasn't. So it was a big, it was just kind of a big like black eye because they were sure it was going to be the best track available. And then it turned out not. So hopefully they get that shit figured out, because that would, I mean, the OG Rocky Mountain, having all of those tracks back would be absolutely ideal. So with Bandamere hopefully coming back, and with Great Bend, good rumors are good rumors. Typically it's no news is good news. I think in this world, no news is bad news. That's because it's not at the top of people's minds. So if there is something out there, I think that's positive. Even if it's even if it's like a negative, if there's people talking about it, it's going to be in someone's ear. They're going to want to bring it back. So hopefully we were able to do that, and then you can do it again.
Yeah,
and it's going to be sweet.
Yeah.
I am running out of questions here, so just a little bit more left for me. If you got more questions, throw it in the comments. Josh Rich, thanks, dude. This has been fun.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. With the Colorado, with the truck, trailer or no trailer?
Trailer.
Yep, I love the trailer.
Yeah.
You just don't need to unload the junk, and I mean, your truck's like it's all gutted. It's not truck anymore.
Yeah, it's gotta be a trailer.
But even with a truck, you got to unload that crap out of the back of your truck.
Yeah,
every time.
It's hard to beat a trailer, and it's hard to beat I'll spend a couple minutes hounding on it. It's hard to beat a good trailer. I don't know how many times each year there's trailer casualties, and it's the guys that are turning motorcycle trailers into car trailers, and they're just getting murdered on the road. Fortunately, Dalen Cox, co-pilot, built us a ball and trailer. Got a big side door that opens up to where we can get to everything.
Shoot, I thought I had a picture from you at Trunk or Treat tonight.
Oh yeah, that was the night.
Yeah, hold on. I'll keep talking. I'll pull that up.
Yeah.
I've definitely. I don't have it here, but I'll get it because I meant to get it going. But I agree, dude. Like a good trailer makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah. I think Andrew Doppita had one for sale a week or so ago that he used behind his white Mustang, and I think it sold pretty quick. That'd have been a ball and trailer for somebody. Or, I mean, even if it's a pickup bed trailer that you use to haul your firewood in the spare, in your off season, that'd work just fine. You're not unloading all your crap, and it just, to me, it just makes the week, more enjoyable and easier. You've got other hurdles. Hauling your crap around shouldn't be one of them.
Agreed. 100% agreed. Shoot, I can't find this dang picture. But anyway, you do have a really nice side opens on your trailer. Yep. You said your co-pilot built that?
Yeah, Dalen built that. I had a spare walk-through door for my big car enclosed trailer. So he turned that thing 180 degrees, and now that door, folds open. You can access the whole inside from the side. Plus, it's got a back door. It's an old boat trailer, aluminum sided. It's all insulated. I sleep in it. All the 666, I slept in it.
Cool.
It's just hard to beat a good trailer.
Yeah, hell yeah. Here, I'll just share. I found it, but it's gonna be easier for me just to share my screen,
There you go.
like I did on those videos. But there it is. There. Boink.
Perfect.
Yeah. So you can see the sides all open there.
Yeah.
And then you said the back opens as well, so you can kind of get
Yep.
to all the corners of the thing.
Yeah, it's got a whatever those truck storage deals is with the drawers in it, so you can open the back door and pull the drawers out and get your bags out.
Hell yeah! And are those Ranger wheels on it?
They are Ranger wheels.
Hell yes.
Those were left over when we did the Danger Ranger race. You couldn't run aluminum wheels; you had to run steel wheels. So
Right.
I had a pile of aluminum wheels laying around, and they fit that axle, and they look somewhat decent.
Yeah, the 5 on 4 and a quarter. The only reason I recognize the Ranger wheel, but freaking Ranger had a 16-inch aluminum wheel with a 5 on 4.5 bolt
Yeah,
pack.
yeah,
And that was like going to be my way to get out of cheap Chinese 15-inch trailer tires, was to
yeah,
find one of those 16-inch, and they were only on like some wacky. You had to have some wacky like trim Ranger that they made in the last like year or two. They made them to
yeah,
get that 16-inch wheel.
yeah. Doing the Danger Ranger race, I learned way too much about Rangers. They had Rangers with 14s and 15s and 16s, and yeah, they did all sorts of goofy combos with Rangers.
Talk to us about the Danger Ranger. What was that like putting together a Ranger to go race at the Freedom Factory?
So, obviously we didn't know what we were getting into. Me and a buddy Kyle, we both got registered, so we both built trucks. Made the 24-hour drive to Florida. And honestly, it was frightening. 40 Rangers ripping around a 3/8 oval at 70 miles an hour was absolutely terrifying. Um, it, it shouldn't be allowed, but it was so much fun. I appreciate Garrett opening it up to everybody to do that. And now the whole Ranger thing's gotten out of control. They're hauling ass.
Yes, they are.
We had planned on going back the second year. I had bought and drove to Oklahoma and bought a badass Ranger. It was high output 4-liter, 2-wheel drive, crank windows, regular cab short bed. It was fast. I mean, if a Ranger can be fast,
Right, as fast as it could be.
as fast as it could be, it made like 220 horsepower to the tires or something ridiculous. So planned on doing the second one, and stuff came up. I wasn't able to make it, so I ended up selling my whole fleet of Rangers to Kevin Smith at KSR.
Okay.
I loaded all 3 of them up on a big wedge, hauled them down to Florida for him, and now Kevin's taken that Ranger and pretty much dominated all the events with that Ranger that I bought in Oklahoma.
Yeah, and
So
you're like, son of a bitch.
yeah, dude, it was the perfect combo. And every time I'm a marketplace and I see a Ranger, I look at it, and I've yet to find another one that was that same combo.
Right.
It was a unicorn for sure.
Damn.
Yeah,
Alex Davis has the best booth video out there.
yeah. So if you Google Kevin KSR cheated in the Danger Ranger race, I made it a like 60-second spoof video showcasing Kevin cheated. It got like 60,000 views or something ridiculous. It was so cheesy, but Kevin loved it, and it was hilarious. It was
Hell
fun.
yes. And Joey Wright wants to know what you're doing with your old turbo.
I mean, I will donate it to the. So let me say that. So Joey's got a Mazda B2000,
Okay.
6-liter turbo LS Power Glide, but it's got a flatbed on it, like fresh off the farm. This thing makes like 800 horsepower. It's kind of a no
Hell
prep
yeah.
deal. It's
Hell yeah.
absolutely ridiculous. It's so funny. It's got a turbo kind of hanging out the grill, but he does need a bigger turbo. So I might donate the turbo to the Mazda.
I like it. I like it. I only got a couple more left here. So again, if you got some questions, throw them in there. My sort of last question, and then I just want to hear what you got coming up here soon. But what advice do you have for a newbie And that can be like a random anything, a drag and drive newbie, someone that wants to get into a performance shop, somebody that wants to hot rod their Colorado, whatever you got. What advice do you have for someone?
Yeah. So here's some advice that was given to me when I started drag and drives, and it came from Andrew Dopita. And Andrew had the fast white Mustang, and
Dopita,
he,
I call him.
he dominated the 10-0 class and whatever that monstrosity of
that Impala that he had,
Impala,
or Caprice, or
yes.
whatever the hell it was. Yes.
Yes. So he told me he had the most fun when he was going slow. When he started getting the white Mustang out, going 750s, he said the fun kind of went out of it. So that would be my advice. I don't know that I'm going to regret going faster. I think it's just another challenge, but there's something to being able to hop in your truck, hit all the checkpoints, go crack off a 10-0, not worry about anything. So that would be my advice as, take the slow road, take the reliable road, just have fun for sure. Where'd you go? Bueller.
Sorry, we just caught up.
There you are.
There we go. We're back. God, son of a. I agree. Everyone gets in a big old damn rush to go fast.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're having as much fun going 14. I mean, Keith Wells says 14 was fun. Like
absolutely.
your flare side truck. A 13 something streetcar is a fast street car. Like, at any given time, you're the fastest car on the road. Like you don't need to have it. What it is it's tough being a dude with an 1150 car with 850 friends. It's it is what it is. Stevie says that South Dakota just got internet. We just got it. We're running water is coming very soon. It's going to be really good.
Cool. That's cool.
That is cool. I'm out of drinks. I got nothing. It's because we're near the end of the show. Son of a. My last question, if you got one more to throw in there, go ahead and do it. Let's get that answered. But what do you got coming next? Where, obviously the new S10 ride coming up, but where will we see that? Where will we see testing? What do you got coming?
So we're going to take to Colorado and do no prep event November 9th. See if we could, win truck class or something stupid. We'll throw, big sticky Hoosier on there and, try not to break anything. And then after that, going to get the shop built here at the house. We're going to tear the Colorado down, kind of freshen, the drivetrain up. And then it's full send on the S10. Hopefully we get it done early spring. Next year we go do some testing, but really, really hope to put on a good show for Mega Week, which I was super excited, to see the live feed on that last night.
Hell yeah.
It's not a tailgate class. Far from home. Yeah, I got mixed feelings on the tailgate class. I wish it was run what you brung tailgate. I'll say that and I'll get it out there.
You're allowed to. I'm not sponsored by anybody, so you can.
True. Yeah, no. Let's run it all out. I'd rather put on a show than detune my shit. Crack off a 10-0 on something that could run sevens or something stupid. So So we'll get the S10 done. I don't know what class we'll run. Kind of leaning on maybe unlimited or something. I'm not sure yet.
Just figure. I mean, at that point, just brand new ride, brand new build. Just take it and show up, and who cares? Like in unlimited, you won't have to worry about any class issues or any rule issues. You just who cares? Run your car, have fun, keep it alive, show the world.
Yeah, we're gonna still keep it pretty simple build. We hope to make a ton of power with a simple build and keep it reliable. So it should be fun.
It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. Josh, dude, this has been fun. Thank you so much for rapping with us. This has been absolutely cool. Totally, dude. Absolutely fun. Cool catching up. Cool having a couple of drinks with you and learning a little more about you, learning a little more about the ride. I can't wait to see the S10. That's going to be absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
So
Now that the cat's out the bag, we'll start sharing some stuff on the social media kind of as we progress, and it'll be fun.
hell yeah, can't wait, dude. Can't wait. Like I said, if you got nothing out of this, go find Flare Side Performance and go tune your truck, man. Your tow
Yeah.
rig. These guys can work on that stuff. Even at 8.1, I know it's a little out of like most people's stuff, but it's the same architecture. The computer stuff is all the same. All those trucks benefit from tuning. So if you got nothing out of this, go tune your effing truck. Any local LS tuner can do it. I promise you. You don't need to do mail order bullcrap tunes. Get one done at a guy, please.
Yep.
There's a difference. So yeah, dude. Thank you so much for being on. I'm going to throw you in the background real quick. I'm going to say goodbye to folks, and then I'll say goodnight to you. But
All right, man.
thank you again. This has been super cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. You guys, super cool. Thanks so much for tuning in. Man, that's cool drink. We are on episode 56. We're just pounding through these. This is absolutely awesome. Every one of these is just really, really cool. We've like met so many cool people, had an absolute blast hanging out with all these folks that like you know of, you've heard of, but they're not like big names. That's the best part of this is everyone's regular people. They're having fun. Danny Bemis, thanks so much for watching. You're absolutely awesome. Can't wait to see you hopefully at Bonneville this year again. And if I see you at a Dragon Drive or something, like look me up. Let's go. Can't wait. Let's party. You got my number. Again, next week, election night. Make sure you go vote. Get that stuff done. I'm going to be watching that. And then the next night, I fly out to the Mod Nationals. So I will be back on That's Cool Drink on November 12th. And I don't know who I'm going to have on yet, but it'll probably be an overhead cam Ford person that also does Dragon Drive that's at the Mod Nationals. So thank you guys so much again for tuning in. Appreciate you all so much. That's Cool Drink, episode 56. We are